careful. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Thank you for coming out this evening, and I hope that in the videotape you saw how it can be used throughout the country to host parties and raise funds. So if you would like a copy of this videotape, there's an order form that you will be given. The videotape is $10. It is not to be duplicated, and it is not to be resold. It is only for one purpose and one purpose only: to invite your friends into your home, play the videotape, and talk to them about helping to build this national center for the re-education of our people and building again the University of Islam, which will allow every one of you who have children to remove your children from an environment, an educational environment that is really hurting them, and put your children in an environment that you can be assured will make a better product than the American educational system. So how many of you think you would like to have that videotape? Would you raise your hands, please? Very good. Well, all of these videotapes, I believe, Brother Wazir, when will all of the videotapes be in the city, please? Next Tuesday. So in a few days, if you will just fill this out, this order form, and sign it, we will have your videotape for you next week, Tuesday, or you can get it 1 week from tonight. Is that understood? Very good. Anything else?
Except that Brother Gerald Muhammad, our study group leader in Gary, came in tonight with his pledge in total.
Where's Brother Gerald? Where's Brother Gerald? Brother Gerald, who's over the study group in Gary, Indiana, came in tonight with his pledge of $1,000. Cheers for brother. I opened my mail today and there was a letter, and in the letter was a check for $1,000 from a believer, and I was given another check from one of my schoolmates who is not a registered follower, but when I was in Washington gave me a check for $100 then, and when I was there last week gave me another check for $900, completing her pledge. So, brothers and sisters, we're beginning to move now. And I don't think there's anything for us to despair over. We just go to work. I heard Brother Abdullah say, we must pray as though everything depends on Allah to open the way for us, and then go to work like everything depends on us. I like that. Pray as though everything depends on Allah to open the way for us, and then work like everything depends on us. Now, I promised you a subject tonight. You remember what that subject was?
Yes, sir.
What was it?
Drugs.
Drugs. Did you bring any with you? Oh. God, I hope not. Brothers and sisters, this drug problem has become a very, very grave and serious problem in the United States and throughout the world. Though our time is very, very short tonight, the few key points that I would like to raise with you are points each of which can be expanded upon to make a whole subject. I want to deal with drugs more and more in the future so that we can get a thorough understanding of not only what the drug does to us when we partake of it, but an in-depth knowledge of why you cannot afford not only marijuana and harder drugs, but how we have to get away from drugs, even prescription drugs. Although sometimes it becomes absolutely necessary, no drug is good for the human body. Now, I would like to base this little short talk around two scriptures. Both are found in the Bible. Jesus said, "As a man soweth, the same shall he also reap." Obadiah the prophet said, "As thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you." Drugs has been a weapon in the hands of the rulers of the Western world against third world peoples. The opium wars in China began not from Chinese people smoking opium, but the opium was introduced into China by Europeans. The Chinese had an abundance of silver, and the Europeans and the Americans wanted the silver out of China. So they brought in opium and started the people using opium. And the more the people began to use the opium, then they began to trade the silver in China to get the opium. And they had several opium wars. This Commodore Perry and others, United States Navy, was used to enforce drug trade. China was ruined with drugs, and it was not until Mao Zedong came to power that Mao gave the Chinese people an alternative: come off drugs or die. He didn't have any rehabilitation clinics, no methadone or slow withdrawal. If you want to live, you live drug-free. If you want to smoke opium, you die. So he killed a lot of the opium users until the others got the message. It is better to live sober and live than to die high. Now, ever since the Chinese became strong, America feared reprisals by China. Now let's go from China to other third world countries, we notice that America had become strong from the spreading of drugs in other countries, weakening populations and taking them over through the spreading of drugs. But remember the subject, as thou hast done. And as a man soweth, the same shall he also reap. When the white people came out of Europe into America, the Indians introduced the Europeans to tobacco. Is that right? And the Europeans introduced the Indians to alcohol. Now, the tobacco is also a narcotic, but the alcohol had a tremendous adverse effect on the Native Americans. And you know, there's an old saying that alcohol and Indians don't mix. If you go up now to the Indian reservation, the young Indian men are literally destroyed with alcohol and its resultant effects, the breakup of the family, not able to hold a job, so that the Indian reservations are weak because the male population is destroyed by and large, and it's destroyed by and large by alcohol. Okay? If you travel, as Brother Akbar did recently, into Australia, where our brothers and sisters called the Aborigines are, who owned Australia before the whites came from Europe and took that continent from them. Right now, the Aborigines are destroyed with alcohol. Not hard drugs, but with alcohol. Every weekend, they do the same thing that black people in America do: misuse alcohol, fight, dance, have parties, sex, and the white man continues to dominate the Aborigines. Now, let's look at how the illegal handling of alcohol made many rich families in the United States. When prohibition was a law and drinking was outlawed, they had stills making, we call it moonshine, or as in the South we call it white lightning. Some of you remember that, huh? I do. And Joseph Kennedy, the father of the Kennedy clan, became rich because of alcohol, lawlessness. But as he became rich and then prohibition stopped, he had already made his money, so he could go straight, in quotes, and then take that money and develop his children. And Joe Jr. died in the war, but John became president. Bobby became a senator, and Teddy became a senator, all of them having millions of dollars that came illegally through bootleg sale of alcohol. Now, in the picture The Godfather, you read or you look at how the mafia began to grow in America. These are people coming from Sicily, which is a tiny island at the foot of the main country of Italy. The Sicilians are dark, swarthy Italians, and this is the birthplace of what is called mafia, or the Black Hand Society. These persons got involved in the sale of alcohol. But in the picture, The Godfather, they talked at one time about getting control of policy, numbers, which black folk ran in Harlem and in other cities. Is that right? The mafia took it over. Prostitution. But now, according to that picture, they said they wanted to introduce drugs. And they said, why not give it to the niggers? They are animals. Let them destroy their souls. Now, I don't know how old many of you are, but in my young years, I always knew as a young boy growing up, when I was 13, 14, 15, and started in show business, I always knew who the reefer man was and where we could get our reefer. How about you? We always knew where the hashish was and where we could get hashish. And had we wanted coke, which was very expensive, and or heroin, we knew where we could go, because all of those who were considered junkies then always knew how to get high. And they always were high because they knew where the man was to get their stuff. Now, what does that tell you? If you and I, as dumb as we were, knew where the reefer man was, then the police also knew. If we knew where the coke man was and where the heroin man was, the police also knew. But the government felt, what the heck? It's just those niggers. Let's feed it to them. Are you with me so far? Now, we have seen how white folk infected China with opium and raped China of silver and made China weak with drugs. We've seen how he made the Indians weak with alcohol. And we've seen how he has destroyed other third world societies, manipulating their frustrations and giving them some form of alcohol or narcotic or drug. All right. Now, in the 60s, when black folk began to be very conscious about their blackness, and we were leaving the church in droves because this pie-in-the-sky religion had no more attraction for us. The politicians couldn't hold us. Education couldn't hold us. So a purer form of heroin was introduced into the black community in the 60s, and it corresponded with the rise of black consciousness among our people. Now, as drugs begin to spread among us, then families, the breakup of families, rapidly came. You can't hold a job, brother. Stone. Either on alcohol, on reefer, on heroin, or cocaine. You can function for a while, but after a while, you can't function. As your habit escalates, you got to do something to keep up your habit. So you would either sell the drug or rob and steal and oftentimes murder to keep up your own habit. So drugs increased the breakup of the home, the breakup of the family. It increased the crime rate among our own people. And who cared? Because we were now destroying one another. In fact, the gang problem in all of our communities was contrived. You didn't hear me? How come white communities have not been beset with gangs? Why is it just in the black and Hispanic community? Why is it that in the government plan of regentrification or moving black folk out of a certain community, they will have a set of abandoned buildings, leaving them there for months, for years? They will inspire young blacks and even pay us to burn out certain places. Huh? And then come in with money and promote gang conflict so that it gets so hot in that area, decent families say, look, we got to get out of here. And that's exactly what the enemy wants you to do. You move out, they allow the property to stay there for a while, deteriorate, then the real estate investors come and swoop up the property for little or nothing, bulldoze it, then you got condominiums growing up or building up there where you used to live, and you can't go there anymore. This is going on in every major city in America. The Black Peace Stone Rangers, the disciples, constantly at each other. There's some natural thing there, but it is fed by outside forces who want to make our own communities inhabitable or uninhabitable, so that we don't want to live around our people. Then they open up ways for you to get into the suburbs. Then they take you out of the inner city and they move the white folks back from the suburbs into the city because they found themselves losing control of all the inner cities in America. Can't you see that this is planned, brothers and sisters? All right, let's move a little further. Now, the Caucasian, in seeing how drugs affected us, they never expected it to spill over into their own community. Now look at this. According to the House Select Committee on Narcotics Abuse and Control, during 1986, the amount of drugs entering the United States: heroin, 12 tons. That's 24,000 pounds. Man, when they cut that, that is enough to keep everybody in America high for a long time. 150 tons of cocaine came in. That's 300,000 pounds. That's what they know. Marijuana, 30,000 tons came in. Now look at this. Virtually no heroin or cocaine is produced in the United States. Are you listening? Yes, sir. All of the heroin and all of the cocaine is produced out of the Middle East, parts of Asia, Central, South America. Where did America do her dirt? Asia, Central, South America. Now in the same countries where America once ruled, they are making the destruction of the United States, and white people who love money more than country, who love money more than principle, are now bringing in the deadly narcotic to feed it to not only black people now, but the market is so wide among whites. The Jews now have a problem of heroin and cocaine addiction. So-called middle class and upper class and high class white families are dabbling now in drugs. It's in the white high schools, the white grammar schools. This is a serious, serious problem now in America. Airplane pilots flying planes high. Trainmen riding Amtrak high. Going down on the CTA, the bus drivers high. The trainmen high. The workers in very critical jobs in America high. Everybody high. The production is getting worse and worse and worse because of the influx of drugs. Now, look at this. Virtually no heroin or cocaine is produced in the United States, but a substantial amount of marijuana is. The domestic production of marijuana increases the total trade in marijuana to 40,000 tons. And when you add in amphetamines, sedatives, PCP, and hallucinogens, an estimate of the street value of all available narcotics is $300 billion annually. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute now. I didn't say 300 million. Let me say it again slower. $300 billion each year. Exactly. Total world trade volume is estimated at $1.7 trillion. So drugs now is big business. Do you know what the biggest corporation is in America? It is General Motors. And General Motors last year made $96 billion. The next is Exxon and Mobil, and down the line is Ford and IT&T, and there is no company in the Fortune 500 that makes more money than drugs. The drug market of $300 billion makes the drug market the 9th richest country in the world. If you put all the drug dealers together with that kind of income, they could support schools, highways, trucks, trains, research, factories, airplanes, ships. Can you see what I'm saying? Now, picture a nation that had a $300 billion income. That's a powerful nation. And every nation has airplanes, tanks, rockets, bombs. I'm talking about they got that kind of income. Got millions of people that they govern. Now you think about a drug cartel that has $300 billion to deal with. What kind of weaponry do they have? The police cannot fight the drug dealers. because the police have a 38 revolver and the drug dealer is working with Uzis, automatic weapons, rocket launchers. They have the most sophisticated weapons. Are you listening? The drug people have more sophisticated communications. The drug dealers got so much money till they buy politicians. They buy governments. Noriega in Panama was bought not only by the drug dealers in Colombia and Bolivia, but bought by the CIA, which dealt in drugs to arm the Contras. Now they want Noriega out of office. They know what he did because they know what he did for them. Now, brother, imagine $300 billion, what it can buy for you. It can buy elections. It can buy politicians. It can buy judges. It can buy armies. So the drug problem has gotten totally out of hand, and the governments of the world do not know how to handle drugs. Now, in Colombia and in Bolivia, the drug dealers are so strong, they kill judges. I mean, they slaughter the rulers. The rulers now want to make peace with the drug cartel and allow the drugs to take place. America is screaming now because as she has done, it is now being done unto her. And what she has sown in other countries, her death is now coming from the same third world countries that she once exported death. Now death is being imported from the third world countries to destroy the moral fiber, the social consciousness, the mentality, the creativity of not only black people, but the totality of the citizenry of America. Now this is serious. Jesse Jackson is talking about a war on drugs. Where would you start? You know, if you deal any drugs, and I hope you don't, but if you do, you just a small fella. They bust you with your little pound or your little catch of crack or heroin or whatever you're using or selling, and they make you look like you the real bad fella. Grab you and tie your hand behind your back, walk you out, parade you, and talk about, look what we caught in your little apartment on the west side or on the south side, or you down in the Lake Point Towers with a little stuff that can go on this table. You can't put 300 billion on this table. You the little man, you get caught. But if you're well connected, they have you out before the night is over and you back on the street dealing again because you their man. And if we begin to cut in on each other's territory, then we go to war. The gangs are armed and selling drugs. The gangs are armed and dealing with prostitution. The gangs are armed and dealing in death. And so the government now is perturbed because the gangs are becoming so strong in California and in Chicago and everywhere else. They can't deal with them no more because the money that backs them is stronger than what backs the police department. Oh man. As thou hast done, so shall it be done. The judges are corrupt. The police are corrupt. The police see the drug dealer and they see more money than they've seen practically in their life in a giant drug bust. And when a big drug bust goes down, they show you stacks and stacks of $100 bills. What do you think they think when they're looking at more money than they ever seen in their life? Do you think they want to store that money and all them drugs in a vault? You read about the French Connection. The French Connection was somebody ripping off the drugs that was already impounded and in police custody. This is going on daily. The police ain't making no money pounding no beat. But if they can rip off a drug dealer of his money and his drugs, then they sell the drugs. This thing has corrupted the police, corrupted the judges, corrupted the politicians. And now the drug dealers are backing their own politicians, that their politicians, just like it was with Kennedy, will be their men in the Senate, in the Congress, in the judges' chambers, in the legislators, even all the way up now to the national government, cabinet, etc., etc., etc. This thing is big. As thou hast done, so shall it be done unto you. Now, poor Jesse, he's talking about a war on drugs. More money need to be spent on drugs. I'm not on the drug, but on stopping the drug from coming in. Sanctions against countries that are making the drug and sending the drug in. Well, what do you do to kill the appetite of the people that is hungering now for the drug? What created the appetite in black America for drugs? What has created the appetite in white America today for drugs? A narcotic is that which has the power to produce narcosis. And narcosis is a state of sleep or drowsiness. Well, that's heavy. Now, as asleep as we are as a people, we don't need nothing else to help us sleep more. We need something to wake us up. Boy, y'all got to turn this sound up, man. You're making me work too hard. Can I get some help? Thank you. Yeah, I really don't wish to shout. Narcotic is any of a class of substances that blunt the senses. My God. As much as our senses have been dulled by our experience here with white folks, we don't need anything else to further blunt the senses. Now, brothers, each one of you is being offered, and sisters, this little cheap high that is called what? Crack. Crack is an epidemic in New York City. It's growing very hard and fast in Chicago, all the major cities of America. Do you all know that when we went to New York in 1985 to have our convention, crack was small then in Harlem, but growing. When those enemies saw nearly 50,000 people come out to that garden to hear the message of Louis Farrakhan, and the videotape shows how they accepted that message, the white man knew that he had no other way to control black youth. Don't you realize, brothers, sisters, it is young teenage boys and girls in the West Bank and in the Gaza Strip that is bringing the Israeli war machine to the attention of the world as a new Nazi element in the world. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is teenagers doing this. Do you know who is fighting the revolution in South Africa? It is not the elderly. It is the teenagers, brothers, sisters, who is making a difference in South Africa. Look there in Washington at that college of the deaf. It is the youth who brought down that recalcitrant, hardened administration. And what do you think the government fears? The government fears these young, powerful black minds that could bring about change toward justice for our people. But how do they deal with you? Since education can't hold you, and religion, you through with a pie in the sky religion, brother. You don't want nobody telling you that madness anymore. You now want something substantive out of life. So in New York, right after 1985, the October 7th speech, crack flooded Harlem. And now there's a crack house almost in every block. How about you and crack? What is it? What is the effect of it on your brain, on your lungs, on your heart, on your liver, on your kidneys? What is the effect of that, brother? If it blunts your senses, is there any lasting damage done to you with the intake of drugs? Oh, brothers and sisters, it takes years to get that stuff out of your system, and some of it that you take, you will never get out in a lifetime. Some of the hallucinogens that are given to you, you have flashbacks, and you'll be going along fine, and all of a sudden, boom, you're out of it. Why? Because you wanted a thrill. You and the boys or the girls wanted to try something. But as thou hast done, now it is being done unto them. And so, in my conclusion of tonight's part one of this drug teaching, the people use drugs because they are drugged. Already drugged here. Look at the circumstances of my life, man. I ain't got nothing. Nobody cares nothing about me. The country ain't worth nothing. All the hell with it. I'll just take me a little hit and see if I can be made to feel better. Why do you use it? You really want to feel better. You want to feel better about yourself. And you want to feel better about life. And so you take a hit, and all of a sudden, you know, man, hey, this is all right. But it don't last long. Just for a minute, you got that lift. And in a few minutes, it's gone. And the only thing that remains is the memory of what you felt when you got that lift. Hey, man, that was all right. I need to get another hit tomorrow. Then the next day you get your hit, and it lasts 10 minutes. And now you want it to last longer. So you get hit once, you get hit twice, you get hit 3 times in a day, and all your money's gone, but you're feeling pretty good. And the man said, look, my man, I know you want to get hit, you know, and get to feeling good, but the way to do that, man, is to sell it. So the young brother got a little things in his pocket. They love to use the young because the laws don't allow them to prosecute the young like they do the older. So the children now is selling the crack. The children are dealing the drugs. The children got more money in their pocket than their mama with the welfare check. And they looking at mama saying, Mom, hey, baby. Mama. Mama, the way I see you hanging around the mailbox, looking for that little jive check. Mama, I got more money in my pocket than that white man give you with that check. Here, Ma, try this. It'll give you a lift. And they laugh, the children just laugh over. Wouldn't it be something if we could crack Mama? And now the mothers sometimes know that the children are dealing drugs and bringing some of that money home, and Mama can pay her bills. Mama can get a refrigerator and a washing machine, put some carpet on the floor, so she's blinded to her child dealing drugs. Boy, but as thou hast done, see, now it shall be done unto you. Ain't nothing that Jesse or nobody can do to stop this unless you change America. America is too entrenched in wickedness now, and the corruption has gone all the way to the top. The problem is so deep, you can't reform America. It has to be destroyed and start all over again. I'm not trying to be smart, brother. Jesse can't handle this. You can make Jesse president tomorrow. When they open up the secret files and show Jesse what America is involved in, if he try to mess with that, they'll kill him the very minute that he start acting the fool. Do you hear what I'm saying, man? They killed John Kennedy. Would you tell them, brother, to put something on this mic? They killed John Kennedy and his brother. When John Kennedy got elected, the truth's coming out now. It was the crime family of Giancana that arranged for Kennedy to win the state of Illinois that put him over. Did you know that? It's now public record now. This man, Kennedy, was aligned with the mafia to make a hit on Castro because Castro had kicked the gamblers and the mafia out of Cuba with the revolution. So he made a deal and a contract with drug dealers to go and kill a revolutionary leader in Cuba so that the crime families could get back into Cuba and export their gambling, their prostitution, and their madness. The country is entrenched in wickedness, brothers. Jesse can't handle this. The man is going down the road, brother. He don't know what he's headed for. That man is in uncharted waters. No black man ever been where Jesse's going now. Jesse says to us, pray for me. We got to pray for that man because Jesse's in trouble. His own brilliance has gotten him in trouble. His own brilliance now is opening up America in a way that America never was opened up before. You see these white folks? Jesse talks about jobs leaving America. White folks know that's true. Jesse talks about the white farmer losing his farm. White folks know that's true. Jesse's talking about drugs infecting the community. White folks know that's true. And they're listening to Reverend Jackson. The man hasn't got no money, can't put no ads on television or radio, but he's collecting the votes, brother, because the man got the right message that America wants to hear, and the people on top are hot with Jesse right now, brother. Mark my words. This is a serious thing. Y'all all right? I'm almost finished. In the Bible, there's a story about Balaam and the donkey that Baal was riding. How many of you ever read the story? Here's a donkey with a rider. The rider is going along, the donkey is obeying the rider. But the donkey sees an angel standing in front of him with a sword in his hand. The donkey stops. The rider starts egging the donkey on. The donkey ain't moving. Then the donkey starts speaking with a man's voice. Brushed the rider's foot against the wall and threw the rider. Look here, brothers and sisters, poor Jesse, poor Jesse, poor Jesse. He's happy now, isn't he? Don't you see how happy he is? Because brother's winning. He's doing something no black man ever did before him. But it is frightening people in quarters that you don't know nothing about. Why are they frightened? That donkey is the symbol of the Democratic Party. The donkey is also the symbol of the unlearned masses of the people. Who is riding the unlearned masses? Kennedy's a Democrat. What the hell does Kennedy know about poverty? Huh? What does Dukakis know about poverty? What does Gephardt know about poverty? What does Gore know about poverty? What did McGovern know about poverty? Any of the recent members of the Democratic Party, these are people from the ranks of the rich who ride the jackass, man, who are the unlearned masses, the working class of the people. Jesse is touching the mass now, the working class, because he's the first man that has aspired to be president from both parties, that's from the ranks of the poor. He speaks the language of the poor. The donkey is listening, and the jackass is speaking now with a man's voice and is about to throw off the rider. The rider is the rich Democratic National Committee. Everybody on that damn committee is a millionaire. What do they know? What do they know about the hurt of being poor? What do they know about those white folks in Appalachia that are poor as a bowl of Yakima? What do they know about the farmers and the pain of the farmers as they lose their farm? Jesse knows. Jesse speaks their language. The Democratic National Committee is shook. This day, Jesse's the front runner. This day, Jesse got more delegates than Dukakis. This day, Jesse is heading on in to Wisconsin, to Michigan, to New York, and Pennsylvania. And let me tell you, brother, he's heading into that convention in a way that no black man has ever gone before. That's right. That's right. And just like Shamir came over here from Israel, talking all that strong talk, but they got him in the back room. And they told him, look, Shamir, you're going to have to play ball here. Shamir held his peace, but when he get back to Israel, all America got to do is stop some of that $4 billion that they get each year. Shamir gonna come around, because if that money from America stop flowing to Israel, Israel will collapse overnight. She don't have nothing. She's a welfare state depending on the taxpayers of America. Well, now Reverend Jackson is talking about poor. He's talking about drugs. He's talking about creating opportunity. He got the right message, but the white people at the top can't execute on what Jesse is talking about. But now Jesse wants some of that included in the platform. I mean, this cat here, he's going for broke. He's hitting the jugular vein. The country's in trouble. And believe it or not, you can't stop the flow of drugs until you stop the appetite in the people for the drug. And the only way you can stop the appetite in the people is you've got to supply that which the drug supplies falsely. You have to give it to them in reality. Now, brother, you don't want no drugs in life. Ain't nobody here want to be drugged and dull and senseless. You're only that way because you have no opportunity to express that which God has put within you from himself. So unless America creates equality of opportunity and frees the country up where black and white and Hispanic and Asian and Arab can get the benefit of what America claims and not the few people sucking the blood and the wealth from hundreds of millions of people. The country is top heavy with just a few people controlling the wealth of the world, and they don't wish to share it with the donkey. And so, beloved, as America has done, it is now being done to her. Her politicians are being corrupted with drug money. Banks can't launder that kind of money without their being a part of the scheme. They can't have that kind of money flowing through banks without the regulatory agencies knowing it and being a part of it and being paid off. Governments know what's going on and are being paid off by drug dealers. And before they give up their empire, they will destroy anybody that will attempt to destroy what has waxed them fat from the suffering of the people. Now, as I conclude, if Jesus saves, how? If Jesus saves, how? If you know the real Jesus, he takes away from you the appetite for that and opens up an opportunity for you to express yourself. You don't need drugs. We came here high tonight. I came here high tonight myself. Yeah. I'm high right now, brother. And when I leave here, my high don't last no 10 minutes. And I got to get another hit. I stay high all the time. I go to sleep high. I wake up in the morning high. I go on through the day high. Well, what is that, man, you got? Hey, man, show me the man that's turning you on, Jack. See, I was turned on by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That's the man that I know saves black people. But look at this, brothers, sisters. When you got a man whose senses are not dulled, a man who is responsible and knows what he can do and is willing to do it, that gives you a measure of security, sister, and a measure of happiness, because you got somebody by your side that is not dull of senses and hearing and feeling because he's drugged. The fact that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad could open up a way for us as black people to express ourselves where I'm a free black man. I ain't got nobody telling me when to get up except God. I don't have nobody telling me when to go to bed. I don't punch no clock for nobody. I'm free, man. I don't sleep till the sun is heavy in my back. I wake up in the morning before the crack of dawn. I'm up. I don't need an alarm clock. I'm up. I'm up because I want to be up. I don't hang out late at night unless I want to hang out. But it's not hanging out, it's working out, working for the salvation of our people. I'm high all the time. I can't help myself. Even when I want to get depressed, I get right on up out of it because it's too much to be impressed about. Personally, I wouldn't care how much drugs you brought in here. When hardly none of us look at it. And if we looked at it, it don't have no attraction for us. I can't even stoop down low enough to pick up a marijuana. What the hell do I look like? Spending my hard-earned money to puff on some weed and damage my lungs. Stick a needle as bad as I hate needles. What do I look like? Hitting my vein until I lose the vein, then stick myself in the navel, in the legs, everywhere, in the neck, in the tongue. What do I look like as an intelligent human being? And what do we look like? They could bring all the drugs. They could load this house from the floor to the ceiling with 150,000 tons or 150 tons of cocaine. It'll be here. No, we'll throw the damn stuff in the street because we have no need of it. Once you dry up the need, then the drug seller can't sell it no more. Once you dry up the appetite in the people for the drug, you stop the drug trade. And what is it that will dry up the appetite? It is giving the people the opportunity to express their own creativity and greatness, and they get high off of the work that they do and the accomplishments that they make. So in this drive towards Stony Island, we start with nothing. We go on out and we work. We sell a subscription to the Final Call. We know what this is going to do. It's going to make the paper the strongest black paper in the country. That's right. But it will give us a treasure of money back in this paper, which will allow us to buy a printing press, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had, and a building that would allow us to print our own newspaper. This will put hundreds to work. Then we, with the money that we put into the paper from selling subscriptions, we can buy a Peterbilt. You know what a Peterbilt is? It's one of the finest trucks on the road. That's just a cab, $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. But then you put the trailer on it. And for $100,000, you're going on down the highway delivering your papers, your product. So a truck driver got a job now, working for his black self in his own truck. When he get on the highway, he ain't got to look. It ain't no jive time Mack truck. It's the baddest thing that the white man make, and he's sitting in it. He ain't drunk. He ain't high. He rolling on down the highway, passing everything and saluting as he goes, because it is his, brother. $3,800 acres of land in Georgia. All we got to do is sell some ads and a power pack. Huh? Raise the money. It's just paper. But turn the paper in, And let's take the paper and turn the paper into farmland so we can start agribusiness. Do you know what 60 acres look like? Come on, brother. This is 4,000 acres. But 60 acres devoted just to raising chickens. Man, you know how many chickens that is? Do you like chicken? Yes, sir. I mean, I'm a preacher. All preachers like chicken. But what kind of chicken is that you eating? You eating this chicken that is eating its own droppings, picking up all the filth. That's a nasty creature, that chicken. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us how to raise them chickens. Put them up on a wire. Huh? Don't let them eat their droppings. Give them good grain and whatnot to eat. Fatten them up naturally. You got a clean chicken, what they call halal. Man, you could slaughter them chickens. Send them into our supermarket. Where? Right here in Chicago. Don't we want a supermarket? Ain't you tired of eating bad food from the white man's A&P, Jewel, Kroger? Have you ever shopped in a Jewel in the white neighborhood and checked out the Jewel in your neighborhood? Jew. Well, the Jew is doing well. You didn't hear me. The Jew is doing well sending you to hell, brother. Eating bad food that you don't even know how the food is grown. How many of you have ever been on a farm and planted seeds and watched things grow? What about having your own cattle, your own dairy, where your cows are there in a modern dairy, clean, spotless, and you put the machine on the other? You ain't got to sit on no pan, a stew with a pan in front of you and be pulling on them udders. You put an electrical doodad on them udders, hit the button, and that electrical doodad gone up and down, brother. Milk jumping out from everywhere. Far as your eye can see, land. You got to get up in a helicopter and fly for 35, 40 minutes to cover your territory. Huh? This is what makes you high, man. When you know it's yours, you rear back on your heels, then. And you ain't nodding because you can't control that thing. Nodding, brother. You rear back on your heels and say, look at here. Good. All of this we own. That make you high, brother. Look at Midway Airport. Come on. Don't you think we got black pilots? Before Elijah Muhammad left us, he was negotiating with United Airlines to buy a fleet of jets. For what? Go ahead. I don't need no high pilot flying me. That's right. I want a sober pilot. Right. Sober navigator. Right. Don't you think you can fly your own planes? Man, when you see your plane landed, with the crescent and star on the wing, yes, sir, coming on down, hey, your chest swell up, your vest pops. Say, good golly, Miss Molly. Damn, this is what I call getting high for real, Jim. That's right. Take your little black babies, wake up in the morning. Right. Brush their teeth with power toothpaste. Wash their smelly backside with power soap. Go under their arm with power deodorant. Put a little power hair dress in their hair. Then take them, put them on your school bus. Take them to your school and watch them learn in an environment that you created for your woman and her babies. That's what I call getting high, brother. Go on the north side. See how the white man build them skyscraper, apartment buildings, condominiums. Go out here on the lake. You mean only whitey can do that? Why can't we build apartment buildings? Put you in the apartment building. Only thing, you got to come by certain rules. You sign a lease, but there ain't going to be no smoking, so you ain't going to kill the people in the house getting drunk and burning up the house at night. No smoking in here. You can't come in here drunk. That's a condition in the lease. And if we inspect your apartment and it's dirty on 3 occasions, you broke your lease, you got to get the hell on out of there. You understand? Train your people. You can't be no revolutionary talking war against white folk and don't have a medical center, don't have a hospital. Who gonna sew your behind when he blow some lead in it? All this bad revolutionary talking ain't got an ambulance. So he kill your raggedy behind on the way to No Mercy Hospital. Huh? Wake up, black man. You don't need no drugs. You need an opportunity to explode and show the world what God has put in you. Jesse can't bring that about. Oh, the brother is doing a wonderful job. He will try. God knows he will try. But Lord, brother and sister, the man is in trouble. His brilliance has gotten him in trouble. And now even some of his supporters are afraid for him. And they're saying, look, Jesse, the country ain't ready for a black vice president or a black president. But it ain't that the country's not ready. The rich ain't ready to give up their position to a poor black man who got the right vision to save America from herself. His vision could do it, but he don't have the power to back up his vision. Jesse would need a strong thing to straighten this country out. See, the party is entrenched in corruption. You don't know nothing like this. This is something you wouldn't ever dream is going on in government. But brother, God is destroying this country the way they destroyed China, the way they destroyed the Native Americans, the way they destroyed black America. Now little white boys and girls, I see them now with their jeans on, with a star on the backside and a hole in the knee, little funky sneakers, hair long, look like they haven't had a bath maybe in 4 to 6 months. Got their guitars in their hand. The way we used to travel hoboing from town to town. White folks is singing the blues now. You can't dance no more. White folks taking your job on TV. I see the white boy doing the moonwalk. Look it on back. I see the white folk trying to do the Cabbage Patch. I mean, white folk trying to get down like you, brother. You can hardly tell who's singing today. Is it white folk or is it you? Is it live or is it Memorex? Is it black or is it white? When you look, you say, oh, I know he's black, I know she black, and then when you look, it's a white face grown in the blues, because see, white folks suffering today. They see their world coming down. And as their world comes down, suicide goes up. As their world comes down, they see Asia closing up on them. They lost the war in Vietnam. The Vietnamese kicked their backside. They went over there, they couldn't fight them, so they fed the soldiers drugs. Because they couldn't hang. But you don't know what it's like for cats to be living up under the ground like moles and rats. But they got cities up under the ground. They crawl out from under the ground, blow the Americans away, get on back under the ground. America come drop bomb. That's all she know. Bomb, bomb, bomb. After the bomb is over, they come up out of the ground and deep. Look, brother. When they came down on America, brother, they was hanging on to helicopters trying to get out of Vietnam. left gold, left nearly $1 billion in equipment. They was getting the hell out of there, brother. They don't like being whooped, but they got whooped in Vietnam. They come back home drug addicts, and the economy falls one day 500 points. They call it Black Tuesday or Black Monday, whatever day it was. People jumping out windows. They lost all their stuff in the stock market. So somebody come and offer them coke. They say, give me a hit. Give me a double hit. Mother turning to be a lesbian. Father turning to be a sissy. They can't hang. Give me a hit. So white folks are so drugged mentally that it's easy now in their weak state of mind to feed them drugs. And so now the white community is reeling and rocking, brother, on drugs, as thou hast done. It is now being done unto them. America don't have to worry about Russia. She's being made so weak she can be taken over by a strong internal force if that internal force would clean on up and know that the real Jesus saves. Hey, Muslim, do you know who you are? Do you know what your potential is? A drug-free community? Yes, sir. A non-smoking, non-drinking, non-partying entity that's all business? The more you grow in a pot environment, drug environment, you got your senses, theirs getting dulled every day. Yeah. What is your future? Come on now. Can't you see? God say, I will take the kingdom from whom I please and I will give it to whom I please. But you got to stay sober. You got to get sober. You got to clean up as thou hast done. So, Brother Abdullah, you better come on and close this out. I got to go. Thank you for a wonderful evening. I want you all to know as I leave you, get your life together. You got a great future. Clean up your life. Dear brothers, you don't need that stuff, man. If you got it, don't even worry about it. Flush it. Forget it. Start cleaning up your life. And with the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the opportunity that the Nation of Islam offers to us that we will be able to offer to others, we can get our people more and more off of drugs. And as thou hast done, let it be done. And then God will give the kingdom to those who are worthy to have it. Thank you for listening. May Allah bless you as I greet you in peace. Assalamu alaikum.